Oh, get ready for an amazing episode. I'm really pumped for this. We're actually going to meet Anthony today later. So, I mean, this is like, it's funny because we're on the screen right now, but we'll be in person later.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting.
Oh, man.
And,
You got it.
yeah. All right. So I'm going to start the show in three, two, one.
Leaders and healers from around the globe, welcome to the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. I am your host, Anthony Cheam, life coach, author, speaker, love bug trainer, just wants to share and care and give to the rest of the world the best of me, the best of my knowledge, the best of my wisdom, the best of my love to the world to transform the world. This is a show where we teach on how to claim your power, clarify your purpose, and cultivate your deepest passion so then you show up as the best version of yourself, making daily, small, tiny upgrades in your life, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, relationship-wise, in your health, in your contribution, whatever it is you want to do to make an upgrade, to make your life better, to make the world better. This is a perfect podcast for you. Thank you for joining us. And today we're going to talk about the subject we're going to discuss is something I've been really passionate about over the past couple of weeks, because I've had a lot of coaching clients who've come to me about sort of they're in a rut or they're just lacking that passion to bring to their work, to their relationship, to their community, to whatever it is they're doing, and the power behind bringing that passion, bringing that love to your work, bringing more of you, a greater version of yourself to your relationships, to your community, whatever it is you're doing. So today's episode is the power of passion, the power of love, and expressing and exuding that in every aspect of your life. Thank you, Cam, for joining us. How's it going, my friend?
Hey, it's going really well, Anthony. And I love this topic because I am naturally a person with a lot of passion. And I guess we can get real transparent here. And we could have like a sort of like, even if it's like a mini live coaching session where you sort of get an idea of how to build passion on the spot. Because in most areas, I'm kicking ass. But there's always like one or two things that drain my passion, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate. I'm really excited for this because when you have passion, man, like things get done. Like I'm looking at the wall right here, and there are literally 5 albums that I've made since I was 10 years old. That's passion, right? All the things that I've manifested, the office I'm in, the guitar right there, like everything I have was manifested because of passion, because of drive, because of like desire, right? So very excited for this show, and I mean, take it away, man.
Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you about a study that I heard from a guy named John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell is one of the top leadership coaches in the world. You might have heard him. He's written multiple books on leadership. And one of the studies that he shared in one of his audio programs was a study that was done on about 1,500 people. And they were asked a couple questions. And the first question they were asking is, are you doing what you're doing because you love it? Or the second question, or is it because you're doing it because you want to make money? Are you doing it for money first, or because you just love it first? And they separated them into Group A, Group B. And the first, if you said you're doing it for money, they separate you into Group A, I believe it was. And then if you said you're doing it for love, they separate you into Group B. And I believe 83% of the people said they were doing it for the money, and then 17% said they were doing it because they just love it, and then they were worrying about the profits later. And so I think after about 20 years, they discovered that out of the 1,500 people, 101 of them became multimillionaires. And what's interesting about the story is that 100 out of the 101 came out of Group B, the people that were just doing it because they loved it first. And I can tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, leaders and healers, if you're listening to this podcast and you're dissatisfied with where you are, whether it be in your job or wherever it is, you're to bring more love to what it is you do. Dose yourself, ignite yourself. That's why it's so important to have that morning ritual, those daily rituals where you are filling your own tank, your own bank account of love, of passion, of excitement, enthusiasm every single morning. So when you fill yourself up more with love, with compassion, with joy, with gratitude, guess what? You're automatically going to bring more love to anywhere you go. My whole idea, when I do that, I'm walking around the earth, walking around my community. I'm walking around. I mean, I was even asking my kids this question. I said, who's crazier? You know, your mom or your dad? And they immediately said, Dad's the crazy one. He's the passionate one. He's the exciting one. And not to say that my wife doesn't have excitement. She just brings a different level of excitement. I'm just a crazy, exuberant, emphatic, joyful love bug that just wants to impact people's lives at the deepest core possible, highest levels, most widest levels possible. And so this is not something that just comes naturally to me to be this energetic. I can tell you this is weeks, months, years years of dedicating myself to that morning ritual of discipline in the morning, focusing on what I want, not what I fear, and really making that vision real. And once I feel like every day I'm doing that, I get excited, I get enthusiastic. And by the way, the word enthusiasm comes from the Greek word entheos, which means the God within, or what I like to say to people, being possessed by God, him or herself. Imagine being possessed by the power of God and being able to move mountains at the thought of it or at the vision of it. And being able to go and step into any challenge with everything you've got and break through any challenge. And so the first step, determine what is it that you love to do, and are you doing those things? And so one of the things I from our last podcast is I asked the audience, I asked you too, Cam, are you, if money were no object, what would you be doing with your life? What would you particularly be doing with your life if no money? And people ask me that question. I honestly, with every breath of truth, I'd be doing exactly what I'm doing now. Exactly what I'm doing. No joke, no hyperbole. In fact, when I do a speaking engagement, or I'm coaching, or I'm training, or I'm singing, I'm playing music, and someone pays me for that, I often say to myself, number one, thank you for this opportunity to be financially abundant. And number two, I go, wow, I'm getting paid for something I love to do, that I would actually do it for free. And so John C. Maxwell goes on to say, listen, there's 2 steps to success in any endeavor of your life. Number one, find something that you love to do, that you would gladly do it for free, that you just do it because you just love it, just because you love it. And step 2, get so damn good at that skill that people will gladly pay you for it. Like, as an example, because he's Canadian, and for the people out there, you may or may not like him, a guy like Justin Bieber, okay? People think he's an overnight success. He really isn't. He practiced his craft day in, day out. But listen, the truth of the matter is he loved what he was doing, playing guitar, singing, playing drums. If you ever hear him not just sing and perform on stage, he can drum, he can play guitar, he can play piano. The guy's a talented musician. That didn't just happen overnight. He trained himself. He disciplined himself. And that's just one example. So he did it not for the $1 million. I'm sure that was a dream of his to become a musician and make it a career, but he did it first because he loved it. And guess what? Now he's one of the biggest mega pop stars in the world. So that's an example of that. So the first lesson, discover what it is that makes you tick in terms of things you love to do. Start there.
I love it. Okay, so decide on what you want really, really badly, what you're totally passionate about, and get so damn good at it that
you got it.
The world wants to pay for you, for you to do it. Which, I mean,
Yes.
I think that's really how it goes. Like, I think we're born into this world and we're meant to do what we're absolutely passionate about, because that is where we will give the most. We're not going to give the most by serving coffee or slinging bagels at Tim Hortons. But what we will give the most at is something that is in our heart, like something that fires us up. And and when you give, you just get. Like, that's just the nature of it, right?
Yes, you got it.
Cool. I love it. That was good.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I'm going to tell you about, even the example you gave about, working at Tim Hortons, I often say to people ask me, well, what is your definition of success? I said, success can mean so many different things. It depends what your definition of success is. Often one of my coaching practices is I'll say to the person, success is, and then they finish the sentence. Success is, and they just finish it. Life is. Spirituality is. Relationships are. And depending how you answer those questions, you got to be very careful with how you answer. Because I remember doing this with a client. I said, money is, and she immediately said, I said, whatever answer comes to your head, immediately answer. Because the subconscious mind will just was telling you little things about what's kind of basically driving your life. And they immediately said, what do you think they said? They basically said, money is the root of all evil. And then I said this, that's why you have none. I said, because you're not an evil person, right? And then she said, well, no, of course not. And so because you have this underlying belief that says money is the root of all evil, you make sure that you have limited amounts of money, because you know that you're not an evil person. Because the more abundant you are in money, the more you think, oh my gosh, I'm an evil person. I will make sure I am not blessed financially. So you got to be very careful with your beliefs. Where I was going with that, I don't know. But the point is, you can also take as an example of working at Tim Hortons. Nothing wrong with that, or being a janitor. But often I say to people, listen, let's give two examples. So let's say you're a lawyer, a high-priced lawyer, multi-millionaire, successful lawyer making millions, but you lose your family in the process. You lose your health in the process. You're now in the hospital with this great big home, nice cars, vacation homes around the world, but you're sick, no one loves you, everyone's left you. Or a person that's, let's say, working at a resort in Mexico who's basically working 12, 14 hours a day, scrubbing the floors in the lobby, but they've got a loving family, they're healthy, and they put all of their energy and gratitude into that job, and they're thankful that they have a job, number one, even though they're making, what, $10 a day, if that, right? Who do you think is more successful? Who would you trade spaces with? And the reality is, when I talk to people about goals and objectives, I often say to people, don't just make one goal. I want you to make sort of a balanced set of goals, a harmonic set of goals where it's not just about the money, but what you're going to do with that money. Make family goals, personal financial goals, business goals, career goals, health goals, relationship goals, spiritual goals, contribution goals. Make it so that it's balanced. Don't just make it about, okay, just money. And that's great and all, but have a balanced set of goals so you have multiple targets, so you have an integrative success philosophy, an integrative sort of goal striving ability. So you're moving in multiple directions. So you're happy in your relationships, happy with your spiritual life, happy with your contribution, happy with your career, happy with your money, whatever it might be. So yeah, you're putting up your hand.
You know what? I figured I just might as well do that because it's like the conversation flows better when I just like raise my hand when I have a question.
You got it.
So
fire away, man.
No, I love it. I take myself pretty seriously. Like, I'm a driven guy. I do what I can to be at my best, become my greatest version. I'm really trying as like as a person in an environment that doesn't necessarily promote self-improvement. It's tough, but I push through it and I make it happen. But recently, I feel like I've hit a sort of wall, and we'll talk about this later, Anthony, because I have a lot more to write about. Like, I'm actually going to get into it a little bit more and try and pick my brain about all this stuff. But
yes,
as an example, when I am out somewhere by myself and something crazy happens, like I find $500 on the street. This never happened, but I'm just a hypothetical situation where something amazing happens, or you know, I see 17 bunnies, the little baby bunnies, and they're adorable, and I'm like, oh man, I love bunnies. It's like the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. I instantly get the idea, man, someone needs to see this. I need to share this with somebody. Like I you know what I mean? And so
yes.
I think because I'm in an environment that doesn't necessarily promote self-improvement, I have no one to relate to when it comes to self-improvement in my own environment. Sure. Obviously, I've got Anthony on the internet, Anthony on the podcast. I've got, you know, some people, but like, it definitely feels like I remember saying this. It was like, when I start to care about, I really care about people, but when I care too much about people and I'm with people all the time, I stop caring about myself. So then when I start caring about myself, people are further away from me, and then I need people to share all my accomplishments with. So it's like, at the end of the day, like, I know I can do so much. I know I could go see a bunch of amazing things, but if I'm not sharing it, it's like so minuscule and so like almost meaningless. Like, I know I care about myself. I do, but it's weird how I almost care about other people more. Like, I care about sharing that with other people 10 times more than I could ever care about experiencing it myself. And I'm sure other people are like this too. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, you know, that reminds me of that movie. I think it was called Into the Wild. It's a true story of a guy named Christopher McCandless. He goes on a journey. Basically, I believe he was graduating from high school or university and top of his class, I believe. And again, I'm not exactly sure. And he goes out to dinner with his family, and his parents are like, yeah, you're going to be the successful, multimillionaire, successful guy. But his goals, he's like, I don't really care about that. He basically gets up the very next day, packs his bag, and his whole goal is to walk to Alaska. Literally walk to Alaska. And just, that's his goal. He leaves everything behind. And he just goes for it. And he goes on this crazy journey. And towards the, you know, he meets a bunch of people, different people, and surviving out in the wilderness and surviving on his own without a home. And he meets some great people, has some great experiences, great circumstances, some tough times, some good times, you know, some indifferent times. And he finally makes it to Alaska. He hits his goal. And basically the rest of the movie is just about him surviving in there. And what's amazing about that movie, he eats some poisonous berries that literally are going to kill him. and he's literally dying. And towards the end, he opens this book. I believe it's a Mark Twain book, or his journal. And he writes these things. He says, "Happiness is only real when shared with others." I mean, what's the first thing that humans do when something good happens to them? Like, let's say, Cameron, let's say you just won $1 million. What's the first thing you're going to do with that money? You're going to tell someone. Why is it humans condition is that when something good happens to us, we want to share it because it amplifies. You want to share that feeling, that emotion with the people you love. Why do parents share pictures of their newborn baby on Instagram? Because so people can share and be invited. It's an invitation for you to share in that excitement, to share in that experience of joy. So keeping it to yourself, let me tell you something. There's very little joy in just keeping it for yourself and celebrating it on your own. Like let's say you won your Oscar or your form of your Super Bowl. You just finished your marathon, and at the end of the marathon, there's no one there. It's your first marathon. No one there to kind of just say, "Hey, way to go," and having signs up. I mean, I did a marathon a few years ago, and I had my father-in-law, my wife, my kids, people wearing the T-shirts I made, "Love is the answer to cancer," and having like, "Daddy, we love you" on these billboards, and I was crying, and it was just unbelievable joy. And when I crossed the finish line, hugs and kisses, tears, and I was just like, man, so elated. All I want to do is share with people. I ran that race. What got me through that race, Cam, and I can give you totally honest, it wasn't my own will. It was because I was running for 3 people who were going through cancer, either radiation or died of cancer or through aggressive chemotherapy. And I remember there was a point in the race when I wanted to quit because my left knee started to really hurt from a previous trampoline injury. And what got me through was, I'm not going to quit because those people are going through cancer. I will cross that finish line no matter what. So sharing that experience, I had more reasons to keep on going than to quit. And when you share that level of energy, you share that level of commitment, we share that level of integrity with the world, let me tell you something. You provide being a source of inspiration, number one, and then you give others a permission to express who they are in their own unique way with their gifts and talents. And you inspire others to be the best version of themselves. And by the way, the best version of yourself, it's always growing and expanding. Every upgrade you make, you're adding to the better version of yourself. There really is no best version of yourself. I believe personally, I'm about maybe 7-8% into being the best version of Anthony possible, which means I got 92 to 94% still waiting for me to uncover, to discover, to allow express through me the passion, whatever creativity or genius that is available to me that God has blessed me with, and I'm excited about that journey.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, man. And one sec, I real quick just want to check out these comments on Instagram. Somebody said, hello, Amina Mamina. I'm terrible at pronouncing.
Hello there.
Mary Pick 78 says, you are not alone. So I appreciate that. And Isaac Pa just joined. What's up, man? Welcome to the show.
What's up?
Yeah, Instagram is doing really great right now, and I love it. And I'm glad that there's other people out there who are understanding this, because I mean, I think it's, whether it be our mind or our ego or whatever you want to call it, it tricks us into thinking that we are alone, or we are different from every single other human being on the planet. Yet we are different, but we're all the same in the fact that we're all different. You know what I mean? It's like that we're connected.
Yeah, you got it.
But like, yeah, I definitely, like, later today I'd love to like sit down and talk about this in depth, because you know this isn't Cam coach Anthony coaching Cam hour here. But like, yeah, I really want to figure out that other person reason, because right now it sounds bad, but I don't care about myself that much. Like, I care about doing things for others, and even if being at my best helps others, I will do that, right? Doing things for myself, if that's helping another person, then I will do that. But I guess right now it's like very, very, like, I have a very narrow view, and I don't see the point in like waking up and meditating and working out. Yet I did it today, but today was the hardest day I could have ever, because it was just like, didn't see, like, it was, because it's like, I wake up by myself and nobody's like, hey man, do it. Be good luck, man. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
you got it.
And then I have to push myself, and it's the hardest thing ever. It's not easy.
It is. You know what? It's funny that you're mentioning that. This morning I posted on Instagram a picture of a woman running, sort of a silhouette, and I said, the best workout you can do, the best workout is the one you do even when you don't feel like it. The best meditation you do is the one you do even when you don't feel like it. The best level of forgiveness that you can offer yourself is when you don't feel like you're worthy of that forgiveness. One thing I will tell you that I've had those levels where I didn't feel like I was worthy of that. I felt like, man, who am I to tell these people about how to change their life? I'm just a worm, right? And I'm not better than anybody. But I remember reading a quote. I forget who said it, but you know, the majority of the world dies with their music still in them, and that scared the hell out of me. I don't want to die with the music still in me. Whatever song you want to sing or whatever play you want to compose, whatever book you want to write, if it means opening up your own daycare center or moving to Fiji and helping the people there, or as one of my cousins did, she basically left her job in California and moved to Africa to become and her 5 children and her husband to for a little missionary. And it's amazing. And to me, that's the definition of success, is living life on your terms according to what you believe you were meant to do on this planet. And by the way, too, what you said, Cam, about you care about others more than about yourself. Well, the physiological, scientific, they did a study on people that just gave random acts of kindness. And what they discovered was the person that received the random act of kindness, their serotonin levels went up by like 200-300%. And the person that gave the random act of kindness, their serotonin levels, so their health and energy and vitality went up too as well. But what was interesting was this idea that the random observers, their serotonin levels went up. So by performing that random act of kindness, you're not just impacting yourself and the receiver, you're impacting everyone in the realm of that observation. And I love the metaphor that Les Brown gives. I love this metaphor. He says, I think it is the River Jordan flows into the Sea of Galilee, which flows into the Dead Sea. And if you look at the River Jordan and the Sea of Galilee, they're abundant with fish and plant life because they are giving. They're sharing their waters with all the other bodies of water. Where the Dead Sea, it's an inlet. It takes. Therefore, it's dead. It's salty. And the people out there, they basically take, and their lives are salty. Their lives are dead. And, I remember hearing one guy say one of the most powerful things I ever heard was one of the greatest tragedies in life isn't death. It's what dies in you while you are still living. What's dying in you while you are still living. If you had 1 year left to live, 1 year, 365 days from this moment forward, what would you be doing? Would you still be at your job? Would you still be doing what you're doing? So it's a good question to ask yourself. If you had 3 months left to live, what would you be doing? Where would you go? What would you see? What would you do? 6 days left to live. What's most important? What are your thoughts? 6 minutes left to live. What happens? What do you say? What do you share? What happens in that 6 minutes? What do you want to leave? What do you need to let go of? And so the whole meditation, that whole visualization, what if we live like that now, every day like that, as if this is the only moment I have? I'm going to appreciate it. That doesn't mean we don't plan for the future and we don't extract lessons from our past, but we fully immerse ourselves in this moment now. As one spiritual teacher said to me, Anthony, the most important the most important moment of your life is this moment now. The most important person of your life is the person you're with now. This is the only moment that exists. If you were to ask God what time it is, he would look at his watch or her watch and say, the time is now.
I think as well, people need to realize that the little things are huge. Because, like you said, if you had 6 months to live, what would you do? How would you spend those 6 months or 6 weeks or 6 days or 6 minutes? Either way, what do you have to let go of? And what do you have to, what's important to you? And I mean, in this society, I was praised for graduating high school more than I was praised for the 4 albums I released when I was 11 to 16. How is it that you're praised more for what everybody else does? What you literally have so much accountability for? Like, nobody told me, hey, get off your ass and start a business, man.
Yeah.
I had to tell myself that, but everybody was telling me, graduate, finish your classes, do your tests, do like whatever, you know? And so realize the little things, like getting up and meditating is, in my opinion, a bigger accomplishment than all my schooling years combined, because nobody told me to do it. That's why. And so when you realize the little small things, like, pat yourself on the back, because if you're doing these things, like, you're part of the 1/10 of the 1% of people who are choosing what they want to do, regardless of what other people think, regardless of what they say, regardless of what they expect. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I think that's why I'm left with a feeling of loneliness or a feeling of disconnect, because I'm putting so much heart and soul into this, and I'm in an environment that doesn't promote what I'm doing, that doesn't even care about what I'm doing. So it's something that I think everybody needs to figure out, you know, like get a buddy to do it with you, or gather a clan or a tribe that is all geared towards just personal development, who are driven, they're passionate, they're excited. Like, my dream really is to go to Burlington and gather a tribe and just keep creating and create social movements and push each other to be better and create an environment that is actually holding you accountable to be a better person. So that's the dream.
No, what else is there? I mean, one of my favorite, honestly, I mean, living that way is living free. And you know, the dreams that you have are the things you see while you sleep. They are the very things that keep you from sleeping, and that drive your heart, that ignite your heart. Your heart is calling you to do something. Act quickly, seize that moment, seize those opportunities. And you know what? At the end of the day, as we end this podcast, I'm going to tell you, there are going to be seasons of life. You know, you're going to go through winter seasons. There's going to be summer. There's going to be spring. Well, what's great about the bad times is the winters, when they're cold and there's very little opportunity, it's dark. What happens after winter is automatically transfers into spring, which is the season of opportunity and planting. So whatever season you're in your life, in whatever area of your life you're in, bring more love to it. Appreciate it with much more depth. Do as best you can to spread as much love as you can. And as Cam so well put, hang around people that you want to be like. Hang around people that are better than you. That's one of the harder things to do, because you feel like, oh my gosh, they're better than me, I'm going to feel inferior. No, that's good. It's going to stretch you. Hang around people. If you want to get fit, hang around fit people that are way fitter than you. You want to become more spiritually connected, hang around spiritually connected people. You want to get yoga classes, hang around yoga instructors and go to yoga conventions. Whatever it is you want to do, just know that you got to be committed, and you got to be able to discipline yourself towards that goal or objective, and enjoy the ride. Trust and enjoy the process.
Okay, it's been a good episode. It's been a roller coaster. Woo! It's been fun. And I'm pumped. And I think I have the unique ability of, when I'm in a tough situation, I'm still like, man, life's awesome though. Like, I'm just happy to be here. It's like you look at something that you don't like to look at, but you're like, man, at least I could see it. Like, you know, that's how I feel. Yes. And so when you have that outlook, like, no matter what, through the tough times, if something smells bad, be grateful that you could smell in the first place. If you're in a tough situation, be grateful that you can be in that tough situation and you're not in nothingness or whatever it is on the other side. You know, that's besides the point. But anyways, great episode. Thank you so much, man. I will see you later, obviously, but go ahead and outro the show.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, leaders and healers, I'll end on that note with regards to seeing things differently. Know that when there's a storm, when the lightning flashes, look up to the sky and know that God is taking your picture, and say thank you. Say thank you. It's nourishing the planet. It's nourishing our souls. So to your continued upgrade and evolution, live it up with power, purpose, and passion. Love you guys.